in counties that historically vote Democrat, Dallas, Travis, Harris County, several others throughout the state, with you as chairman, what would be some specific RPT efforts in those counties that could turn a few elections our way? Or do we just punt and use our limited resources in more strategic ways?
You know, one of the things, you know, I hate to use a military metaphor, but in the military, we don't believe in ceding territory to the enemy. Okay, and that's what we've done for far too long. Last week I was down in Southwest Dallas Republican Club. You know, the other side of the Trinity River, where we don't show up. There was 115, 120 people in DeSoto. 25% were black. Some of them were running for elected office. But see, the thing is that we can't just say that we have blacks running for elective office in these inner city communities. Think about the parable of the sower and the seed from Mark. You got to go out and fertilize that ground before you throw the seeds out there. Because if not, the seed's just going to land on the top of the ground, it's going to be parched, it's going to dry up. Or the seed will get picked off, which is what happens over and over again. So we have got to start having that engagement. We've got to have pastoral roundtables. You want to talk about making inroads into the black and Hispanic communities with the pastors. And we've got to get pastors to understand, why is it that you preach this stuff on Sunday, which is conservative in nature, but then Monday through Saturday you get stuck on stupid, okay? And then you're supposed to be the shepherd of this flock, but you're feeding your flock over to the wolves. So we've got to have those real hard conversations. You know, I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in the same neighborhood that gave us Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When I was born in 1961, I was born in a blacks-only hospital. But my parents raised me with conservative principles and values. But notice what I said? I used the plural, parents. The policies of the left have decimated the black family. You don't have fathers in the home. Think about President Trump when he gave that opportunity scholarship to the young 9-year-old girl from the inner city of Philadelphia who was there with her single black mother. I had a World War II veteran dad that looked at me at the age of 15 and challenged me to be the first officer in the family. See, that's what happens when you have strong families. And no, we can't punt our principles. We've got to put the other side on defense, especially where they have been creating victims for the past 60 or 70 years.
Sure. Well, I guess, first of all, any historical appreciation realizes this is not a new problem, right? It was Churchill who said, if you're not their equivalent of leftist when you're young and conservative when you're older, you didn't have a heart and you don't have a brain, right? I mean, this is not a new problem that young people tend to skew left. Kent State was young people, 50 years ago, right? 55 years ago. So, but what have our efforts been? Actually, I won't even talk about just the last 2 years. I'll talk about right now. We have 40 college students volunteering right now on campaigns during spring break that we are recruiting from and sending all around the state to help with campaigns. And we are prepared to offer those folks, like we're talking to them, about changing up their class load so that we can have them for the whole spring quarter and we can have them for all summer and they can take the fall off and be dedicated full-time in the fall. Our mission, we've been working with college Republicans to help them grow their clubs. We have been working with high school Republicans because there have been some high school principals who have taken the position that any political club is not allowed in the school, and that's ridiculous and absurd, as saying that any religion is also not allowed. That is a freedom association issue. So we are helping fight for those. We're growing the high school Republicans, we're growing the college Republicans. We are literally paying and recruiting them, and they're participating in our efforts. And the excitement that I see at the young Republicans, I'm very excited to be working with them to grow their efforts as well. We have amazing young Republicans in Texas, and we are bringing them into the fold and getting them involved. One of the best ways you can get involved, I know your county chair's here, Mark's here. One of the best ways you can get involved is use high schoolers for clerks during election windows. Every election window, a high schooler 16 and above with the principal's permission can get paid to work the election as a clerk. 16 and up. And I'll tell you, it is so eye-opening for a 16-year-old to sit there and see what the Democrats try to pull during election day. It is a life-changing impact. I did it in all over Travis County, and it was a massive way to get youth involved in Travis County with our party.